What is going on, guys? I'm coming back with a brand new video. This is going to be the way too early power rankings for 2023. And to get this list started, number 32, I have the Arizona Cardinals. Now, the Cardinals are obviously going to be missing Kyler Murray due to injury this year. And with their new coach, we really don't know how this team's going to do. And I think that it's very likely that they go out and get a quarterback next year in the draft like Drake May. 31, we have the Houston Texans. Now, they got C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson out of the draft, obviously. But how much are they going to be able to help this struggling team as the Texans? They lost Brandon Cooks, their number one wide receiver, to Dallas in a trade. They got Dalton Schultz, but how much success will this team have? Especially since C.J. Stroud's coming out of Ohio State with guys like Marvin Harrison to throw to, and now going to worse options. Number 30, I have the Bucs. You can't really replace Tom Brady, and if you do, you want to try and do it with a top-tier quarterback like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, or Joe Burrow, which Baker Mayfield is not. So I can't really see this team doing too good this year. 29, the Falcons. Very questionable move, taking B. Ryan Robinson at 8 in the draft, which was very unexpected. I thought he was going to fall to the Eagles after losing Miles Sanders, but how much will he be able to help this Falcons team win games? You got guys like Jesse Bates out of free agency, but I don't think this team will do too good. Desmond Ridder at starting quarterback, which isn't my favorite option for quarterback, which this team would be a lot higher on the list if they could have traded for Lamar Jackson when he wanted his contract. This team could be a lot higher, but we didn't really see too much of Desmond Ridder last year. There's some ups and downs. Number 28, we have the Green Bay Packers, losing one of the best quarterbacks to ever do it in Aaron Rodgers. Moving on to guy that we have no idea on in Jordan Love, which we have not seen a lot of, and he's a big question mark. So could we see the Packers getting a quarterback next year? But we did see the Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers. Can we have Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love? It's possible, but I don't think this could happen. They have guys like Christian Watson, who are playmakers, who really emerged in the last part of last season. Next up, we have the New England Patriots. Now, part of the reason that they are this low on the list is because they are playing in a loaded AFC East. And I don't think they'll be able to compete against the top runners like the Bills, Jets, and Dolphins, who all have quarterbacks that are established, or at least very good. 26, we have the Panthers. I think Adam Thielen will be good for Bryce Young, but kind of what I said with C.J. Stroud. Higher competition, obviously, and he's not throwing to the best guys in the nation like he was at Alabama. With not as good of an O-line, we might not see this team be good for a couple of years. Number 25, I got the Raiders. They downgraded at quarterback went from Derek Carr to Jimmy Garoppolo, which did not make sense. But Josh Jacobs doesn't want to play he wants a bigger contract, which he deserves, but at the same time, I can see what the Raiders are really talking about. If you look at the past running backs who got paid big money, like Zeke, Le'Veon Bell. Number 24, I have the Colts. Part of the reason is Jonathan Taylor wants to get traded out of here. And if Jonathan Taylor does not want to play, it will seriously hurt the development of Anthony Richardson because he is a project quarterback. He reminds me of Josh Allen, how you're going to run the ball, jump, do all of that. Number 23, I have the Rams. Now the Rams have had their ups and downs in the last 2 seasons, winning a Super Bowl, them being the worst, having the worst season after winning a Super Bowl, going 5-12 or something like that. So this team can depend on Matthew Stafford's health, Cooper Kupp's, and Aaron Donald's. And I think it's also worth mentioning, they drafted Stetson Bennett out of the draft, which he could be a very good option if Stafford goes down. And I'm interested to see him play because he was a proven winner at Georgia. 2 championships. And next up on our list we have the Bears. Now the Bears are a very interesting team because we haven't seen if Justin Fields is a good passer or not. Now I know some people think he'll be great, and I hope he's great, but we haven't seen him passing yet, so I don't think we can jump to he's going to be a top 10 quarterback this year because we haven't seen him be able to pass the ball. Now he finally has some weapons and protection, and guys like DJ Moore, they got some linemen out of the draft, but we have to just wonder. Next up, we got the Washington Commanders. This depends on Sam Howell a lot. We know Terry McLaurin is going to go above 1,000 yards. Have a great year, like he does every year. But how much are we going to be putting on Sam Howell? Obviously, Dan Snyder just sold the team, so that's a huge culture shift for this team. Next up, we got the Tennessee Titans. The Titans have DeAndre Hopkins with Derrick Henry. Now, if both of these guys were in their primes, this team would be a Super Bowl contender. But they're not. They're both in the aging years of their careers. And who's going to be playing quarterback for this team? Will Levis hasn't looked good in training camp. Ryan Tannehill is the definition of average, or even below average. And Malik Willis looked terrible last year. Absolutely terrible. So, the biggest question is going to be quarterback for this team. You got guys like Jeffrey Simmons, Kevin Byard, and other guys I can't think of right now. 18, we have the Broncos. Now, the Broncos, one of the things that I like about this team is they have Sean Payton. Now, I haven't seen him trying to get Taysom Hill yet, which I'm very surprised of, because we saw in New Orleans how much he liked him. But Sean Payton knows how to coach a quarterback, and Nathaniel Hackett does not. So, comes down, amazing defense, Pat Surtain II, and other guys that are playmakers, Justin Simmons. 17, we have the Vikings. Now, I think the Vikings are going to be going into a rebuilding year, even though most people don't think of it. You lost Dalvin Cook, and a lot of their games last year one-score games. So, can we expect for the Vikings to always be able to win these one-score tight games? Because you're not going to win every one of them. So, even though they have guys like Justin Jefferson, they lost Adam Thielen, which I'm mad that they wouldn't give him a contract because lifelong Vikings fan, one of the best stories in the NFL. Just let him walk. 16, we have the Seahawks. Now, one of the problems with this team is how are they going to pass the three different guys? This is the best three wide receivers in the NFL. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Jackson Smith. How are you supposed to defend against these guys? I mean, even last year, DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett was arguably one of the best wide receiver duos in the league. Probably third. But now they have the best trio by far, I think. So, it's going to be very hard to stop this team. Brought back Bobby Wagner. So, I think this might be his final year playing in the NFL. Next up, we have the Giants. Now, the Giants are a kind of weird team because last year they were a dark horse team that no one expected to go far, but Brian Daboll brought this team far. Saquon, they got him to a deal. They paid Daniel Jones too much, and they're just going to need to tighten up. Daniel Jones was alright last year. He wasn't the best, he wasn't the worst. Number 14, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Tomlin's never had a losing record. George Pickens looks good. Had an amazing catch over Joey Porter Jr., I think it was, in training camp. Probably better than his one-handed catch against the Browns. Kenny Pickett looks good, but I'm putting a lot of faith into Mike Tomlin being able to coach this team well. He hasn't had a losing record since 2007, so should be good. Number 13, I have the Cleveland Browns. Now, this depends on Deshaun Watson, if he can perform at the level he was at in Houston. This team is in the top 5. You have Nick Chubb and Myles Garrett. Amazing defense. Good offensive line. What's stopping this team is their quarterback. Last year, Deshaun Watson did not look good, but he hasn't played in 2 or 3 years, so you kind of expected that. But now, he's had a training camp, couple of games behind him, so should be a very good team, but I put him at 13 because if they don't do good, I don't want to have him in the top 5, then everything flop. Number 12, I have the Miami Dolphins. Some people might have them higher. I don't, because of Tua's health. Now, this is the best wide receiver duo in the league, Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. They got Jalen Ramsey, but he gets hurt on one of the first days of training camp, so what can we expect? They signed Eli Apple, who is really hurting this team. Even though they're adding to the team, I think it's going to hurt them in the long run. Number 11, I have the Detroit Lions. Now, this Lions team led by Dan Campbell looks good. Now, they had one of the best offenses last year, but just a bad defense. So, if this defense can get tightened up, it should be a good team. Another controversial pick in the draft with Jahmyr Gibbs and then Jack Campbell is weird, but they're looking to use Gibbs as more of the receiving back, not as much as a running back. traded DeAndre Swift to the Eagles. Got Brian Branch out of the draft, who I really like. And I'm surprised he fell to the Lions in the second round. Number 10, I have the Jets. Got Aaron Rodgers. Got Sauce Gardner. Got Garrett Wilson. And they're looking good in training camp. But everything can look good on paper. But when you're in that battlefield, nothing goes like it's on paper. Number 9, I have the Ravens. Now, Lamar has gotten hurt past 2 years. They got OBJ, but are we really going to count this team? I mean, Lamar got hurt the past 2 years, so this isn't the most dependable team. 8, I got the Chargers. They blew that huge lead in the playoffs, but on paper, they have a top 5 roster. But it's their coaching. And like I said before, when you're in a game, everything can look perfect on paper, but in the heat of battle, doesn't work out like that. Number 7, I have the team that beat the Chargers, the Jags. The Jags look very good, but they got Calvin Ridley, who looks really good out of training camp, but we don't know if he'll be good in the games yet. So, got Trevor Lawrence, who really emerged last year from that Urban Meyer thing that was a mess. Number 6, I have the Cowboys. Dak needs to return to his form where he is good, which I think he will, but we don't know that for sure. CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons, team should be good. Number 5, I have my Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Von Miller, Greg Rousseau, Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde. But they can't get past the playoffs, as has been seen in the recent years. So, next up, number 4, we got the 49ers. So, this 49ers team main question is at quarterback: Sam Darnold, Brock Purdy, Trey Lance. Trey Lance and Sam Darnold both got picked early. Trey Lance still has a chance to be good in the NFL. Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, is now very relevant in the NFL. Number 3 at the Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrow. They lost Eli Apple, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd. Good team. Very good team. Number 2, the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, a lot of people put him at number 1 after winning the Super Bowl, but that nod goes to the Philadelphia Eagles, who I think is a better team and will be better in the long run and this season. And with that is your list. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, and give this list. And I'll see you in the next video.